This is QueerX, a paranormal research and defense unit, investigators working specifically for the LGBTQ+ community, who confront the impossible, protect the vulnerable, and uncover the truths that others fear to face. These are their stories.
Life used to be simple. I was 19, young and fit. My biggest worries? Working out, cruising hot guys and finding the next hookup. All I cared about was myself. I thought I understood this world. I thought I was invincible, but I was wrong. Everything I knew was about to be turned upside down. Late one night, a Grindr hookup took me to an address that didn't feel right. There was something wrong about the shadows, the silence, the way the air suddenly grew cold around me. The hottie I was expecting turned out to be anything but. Instead, it was a snarling, giggling, black humanoid-shaped thing, which appeared suddenly before me and then one behind. I felt a fear I had never felt before and froze in absolute shock. Before I knew it, they attacked, knocking me to the ground. One of the creatures loomed above me, uttering a low guttural laugh, and I knew I was going to die. All of a sudden, there was a blinding white light, and when my vision returned, there she was, Angel Machias. Raising her arms before her, a white light grew between her hands and shot out in a burst towards the shadow demon, enveloping it. The creature's screams were deafening. How did the whole city not hear this? She saved my life that night, but she also saw something in me, a spark of the same light. She offered me a place in the agency, a secret force sworn to protect and enrich the lives of LGBTQ+ people wherever the paranormal turned dangerous. That night, I said yes, and nothing would ever be the same again. The next 5 years were brutal. Training, discipline, learning to channel the light. Every agent wields it differently. Chief with her hands, others with talismans, whips, even a slingshot. Me? I needed something built for me. A sidearm that could focus my light into laser fire. The agency gave me more than a purpose. They gave me a home and a badass ride. Mobile, discreet, and armed with tech beyond imagination, my tiny car and trailer aren't just transportation. They're a lab, an arsenal, and a sanctuary. Though small and humble in appearance, there is definitely more to these vehicles than meets the eye. Step into our paranormal journey. Let's begin. I am Agent Elliott Hayes, and this is the world you were never meant to see. Chapter 1, A Cold, Dark Night. The desert stretched out before me like a restless ocean of stone and sand, dark clouds tumbling low over the horizon. The storm had been following us since Flagstaff. Each lightning strike setting the mesas and buttes ablaze in haunting silhouettes. I kept one hand steady on the wheel, the other tapping absently on the worn leather, feeling equal parts uneasy and exhilarated. There was something about driving into the teeth of a storm that made the air crackle with possibility. Beside me, Archie had surrendered to the road hours ago, curled against the passenger door, breathing slow and steady, the kind of sleep that only comes from complete trust. My mind refused that same peace. It circled instead around the case, waiting for us on the reservation. The request for help had been brief but urgent. A tribal member, young and openly gay, stalked and harassed by something no ordinary predator could explain. The Navajo Nation police had their own unit for supernatural matters. Skinwalkers, restless spirits, curses that had outlived their makers. But even they'd asked for our help, not because of the creature, but because of who it was targeting. This wasn't just about survival. It was about community, identity, and fear used as a weapon. The dashboard view screen buzzed, jolting me from thought. The chief's worried face appeared on the screen. I eased the car onto the shoulder, gravel crunching under the tires, and answered. "Good evening, Captain," I said, voice low. Lightning cracked again, and for a moment the desert outside the windshield glowed bone white. Her voice came through the static, hard-edged but weary, laying out the details. The boy, the threats, the shadows seen on the ridgelines, the stories whispered about a skinwalker that didn't behave like any they'd known before. "Relax, Captain," I said. "We're halfway to the Navajo Nation now." A brief smile flashed across her lips, quickly replaced by her standard stern, no-nonsense demeanor. A brief nod of her head, and the screen went dark. And that was when I heard it. Something moving just beyond the hiss of rain. A scrape against the gravel shoulder, a sound too heavy, too deliberate to be the wind. I looked up. It stood half-shrouded by the storm, a grotesque silhouette etched against the lightning. A wolf's head crowned with the absurd twitching ears of a jackrabbit. Its body elongated and hunched like a kangaroo's, muscles rippling under soaked fur. Its eyes found mine, burning with something that felt older than the desert itself. Suddenly, it moved, running faster than any normal creature could. It slammed into the driver's side door, the whole car shuddering with the impact. Archie clawed at the seat for support as the creature's bulk struck again, this time from the opposite side. Metal screamed, glass rattled, my heart pounded, hands fumbling for the weapon holstered at my side, and then, silence. The beast veered off into the sheets of rain, swallowed whole by the storm. Only the whisper of the wind remained, and the hollow expanse of the desert. I stepped out, gun raised, rain needling down my face. Nothing. No tracks, no shadow. Just the lonely hiss of the storm against a horizon too wide to hold secrets. But I knew better. The night was watching. Dinner was finished, the 3D printer humming quietly as it cycled into standby. Archie had settled at the foot of the bed, his head heavy on his paws, already drifting. I sat with the laptop open, its pale glow the only light inside the trailer. Outside, the storm hadn't let up. Rain tapped against the metal roof in restless patterns. On the screen were pages of notes, transcribed interviews, and every archived report I could dig up about skinwalkers. The lore stretched back generations, men and women who traded their humanity for the ability to wear another's shape, sorcerers whose very names were whispered with caution. Some stories spoke of shamans gone wrong, others of witches who wrapped themselves in stolen hides and stalked the living. But this case wasn't like the rest. Even the Navajo unit had said as much. The creature wasn't just lurking at the edges of villages or haunting trails at night. It was singling out a man, So Yazi. Young, proud, and unashamed of who he was, working outreach for LGBTQ+ kids on the reservation, trying to make their lives better, trying to change the stigma of being queer amongst the elders of the nation. Reportedly well-liked and thought highly of in the community, but now marked for death. The more I read, the heavier the air felt inside the trailer, as though the words themselves carried weight. Ancient warnings, descriptions of beasts with twisted bodies and eyes that glowed like embers. My own memories of what I'd seen on the highway bled into the research until the line blurred between story and witness. Archie's ears twitched. He lifted his head, eyes tracking toward the green-lit window. A low, uneasy growl vibrated from his chest. I froze, hand hovering near the pistol at my side. The desert outside was black and endless, but the storm carried whispers between the thunder, and I couldn't shake the feeling that the stories on my screen weren't history. They were prophecy. As I fell asleep that night, I couldn't get the image of Soyazi out of my head. "You're here to work, not find a new boyfriend," I silently reminded myself. But that couldn't stop the dreams.
Elliott, I've been waiting for you.
Yeah, I didn't get much sleep that night.